Welcome to the Intern Whisperer, the show all about the future of work. And so tonight's episode is going to be with Becca Coffy. She has been our intern that has been working with us as an associate producer, creating all of the content that's been going out, and she's over here to be a part of the show. So welcome, Becca. Glad to have you here.
Hi, everyone. It's glad to be here, Isabella. Thank you for having me.
Oh boy, I'm very excited about this one. So today's Intern Whisper tip of the week is remember what it was like when you were looking for a job, employers. You want to make sure that you are helping your intern be able to find positions, show them how to use LinkedIn, network them, meaning when I say network them, what I am really saying is that you should take them to networking events. You should make sure that they are introduced to other people because that's really helpful. They're trying to find a job. If you can't hire them, then you want to make sure that you're able to help them find a job. So, as I mentioned, today's guest is Becca, and she's going to tell us all about herself with just 5 words. So, Becca, what are your 5 words? And
So,
you get, oh, and
sorry about that. So
just to
sorry.
be clear, yeah, I want you to be able to tell us what the word is and why that has significance.
No problem. I'm going to first start with the three things I usually tell people when I meet them. So, the first one is I'm a dog mom, a dog mother, which
So,
means,
tell us about your dog.
yes, I have a 9-year-old dog. He's a smooth collie mix, so he's half smooth collie, half corgi. He's the love of my life. I adopted him 6 years ago from an animal shelter. So for me, I think that's amazing. And if you're able to get an animal, I would say adopt because the shelters are way overcrowded.
Mm. Was it hard for you to pick your dog when you went there? I used to volunteer at them, and it was always hard for me because I would get very attached to the animals. And I was wondering, you seem like you would love all of them and want to take them all home. I walked out with 3. So, how about you?
Yes, it was so hard. It took a very long time for me to pick exactly one because I'm like, I want them all, but I could only like at the time be able to get one. So yes, it was really hard. So you got three. What kind of dogs did you get?
I
Do you
love
still have them
Cocker
now?
Spaniels. Cocker Spaniels are the breed. I've had 8, not at the same time, but I've had 8 Cocker Spaniels. And the ones that I walked out of the shelter with, one was all black. And that's my favorite one, honestly, because they have, really dark eyes and they were all black and their little pink tongue was sticking out. And I just thought they were adorable. And then I got the one that's the blonde colored one. That one usually they call it a party color if it's like white and beige. I had
Right.
that one. And then the third one I got was a red, like an Irish setter red. And he was about to be put down because he had heartworms. I knew he was going to die. I didn't want him to die in the shelter because I know what they
Aw.
do with the animals
Right.
after they pass. I took him home and he had a really good 6 months of extended life.
Yeah, I bet he loved being with you for the short amount of time that he lived, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, they all passed away, but they were good dogs. I liked them quite a bit. Your second word, how else
My
would you describe yourself?
Yes, my second word would be I'm creative. So I've been singing since I was 4. I was in my chorus in high school since grade 6. I was also involved in talent shows. In my senior year, I was in the production of Beauty and the Beast, where I was in the ensemble. So I've
Yeah.
done a lot of things creative in music, and I also took acting and singing classes also when I was younger as well.
I know one of the things that you did during your internship is that you did during the pandemic, they had an online play and
Yes,
that you did
exactly.
that. What play was that?
It was called Left to Our Own Devices, and my character was Abby's devil, and I had so much fun with the cast and the crew performing with everyone, and it was very exciting to do performing again, even though it was virtually. So I had fun doing that.
Yeah, I bet it was a lot of fun. I was wondering how they handled, and I think I even asked you this before you actually did it, is how do they handle the props and making it look like you guys are all together? Because everybody was, you did it all by Zoom, so
Right.
everybody was separate, correct?
Exactly. So what we did was we got the play, and we had a, like, in every production you have like a rehearsal day, a dress rehearsal day. So we 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 bought props and crew and everything that we needed for the background for our set, like digital backgrounds and everything like that, so it would look realistic.
Mm, very good. Third word.
My third word is I'm a Canadian. I'm a very proud Canadian. I'm from and born in Canada, specifically in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So I'm very proud of where I'm from. And like a lot of, there's like some stereotypes of Canadians that are not completely accurate. Like we don't say boo and stuff like that. And if you watch like other YouTubers and creators like that, they will tell you like a lot of the stereotypes, besides like us being kind, are not accurate at all.
Mm. I've not heard of any stereotypes other than saying a like that was one, but I think it's from a specific region in Canada, so I don't think that that is necessarily a stereotype, but I think it's just something that people like that Canadians say.
Yeah, there's like a couple of people like I know, like friends of mine. They're like, because people keep saying that stereotype, they're like, you know what, I'll just use it, even though I don't use it. So so that's how it goes right now. But like for me, I'm more from the east coast of Canada, and like Montreal, Toronto, and stuff like that. So where I'm from, like we don't really use a, maybe in the west side they probably use it more, and that's probably where that came from. But from where I'm from, I've never heard anyone say a or anything like that.
Yeah, it was from, excuse me, it was
No
from one
worries.
of the movies. Let's see, oh gosh, Strange Brew. That's really dating myself because honestly, you will not. That movie came out before you were born. I don't think you'll even know what it is. But it was that Mike Myers and another actor he was also on Saturday Night Live. It's pretty popular and it's really funny.
Yes,
Okay,
Saturday Night Live is a really great show. Yeah.
it is funny. Sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
All right, fourth word. Oh, and I'm going to go back because one of the
Okay, go
things
ahead.
I remember we talked about creativity is the fact that you got to learn how to use Canva and you were
Exactly. That.
creating posts. And one of the things that we discovered is that we have different ideas of as to what is a good design. You got definitely exposed to the elements that I've learned from other graphic designers. Less is more,
Yes.
and I'm going to hope that that would be something that you'll take into it. And when you work with the next person and you're doing any type of social promotion, the question that you should ask them is, do you have any particular way you like your social chant your art to be produced for your social channels? Because if you look at a company's Instagram account, that'll give you a really big idea as to how they do their art. You know that you created the color palette that we used for the this last quarter, and you were able to create some really pretty designs. And I guess the takeaway is making sure that you go and you ask other people, okay, how would you like this done? Because then you're focusing on what they want, not necessarily what you want.
Yes. Exactly. I've learned from this internship that, like you said, less is more, contrast, and whatever job I do in the future, I will, like, the once I get hired, and especially if it's more of a creative role that I'm helping them with promotion on their social platforms, I am going to, from now forward, from working with you, I will be like, what do you want your social post to be? Do you want, do you, like, because some companies, they change how their posts throughout the seasons, just like your company, Isabella. Like, you have 2 weeks of doing one color, and then the next 2 weeks a different color. So for me, I will communicate with whoever my future bosses are and see what they want their next post to be.
Yep, that's a good practice to do, and to be proactive. Go look at their channels in advance, even before you ask the question, because they'll probably send you back and say, well, go look at what we have. And
Right.
when you do that, you can even make some suggestions on how possibly it could be improved. That shows that you have additional value to bring into the situation. There's a lot of ways that can work to your benefit for sure. All
Exactly.
right, fourth word.
The fourth word I would say that describes myself is unfashionable. A lot of times when people see me out and about in person, they're like, "Where did you get your outfit? Uh, where's that from?" And I would say, like, I've been very fashionable and into fashion since I was young, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes. You can go to thrift stores, you can go like Goodwill, you can go to Route 21, all these little boutiques and anywhere local to get very cute and affordable clothes. You don't need to go to any big high end place to buy very cute, fashionable clothes.
I agree with you, because one of the things we did a previous episode on the fashion industry and how people could actually go to thrift stores and be able to put together an outfit that could work for either professional or business casual. And we took three of the female interns and three of the males, and we asked them to go and identify, to pick out three outfits, well, at least two outfits, one that was professional, one that was business casual, and they could only spend $20 on that. And then we did a fashion show with it. That was with Landon also. We did it
Oh,
down
that's
at
fun.
the, it was fun. We did it down at the big Goodwill store. That's the biggest one that they have here in Orlando. And we were walking through the store and we were taking pictures and shooting video. A lot of that was used on social channels previously. And I think it's even on our IGTV, even though we don't put a lot on IGTV anymore. However,
Right.
it was super, super fun. We got to interview the people at Goodwill, and they also shared more about just the history of Goodwill and why people shop there versus going to a regular big in store. So, little shout out to Goodwill for sure. Okay, your fifth
Exactly.
word.
My fifth word I would say is that I am compassionate. I really care about others. I try to help people as much as I can. I have a big heart, and I'm really here for anyone in my life, no matter who you are.
I would agree with that one. That is the one that I would have led with. I know you picked your words the way that they have meaning to you. I think that
Right.
you're very caring. I believe I would describe you more as a servant heart, because you do love to give to others and be able to really have an impact. You're always smiling no matter what. So you're very cheerful, and I think you have a lot of joy in your heart. So those are the
Thank you.
words I would have picked for you. I would have said joyful. I would have said certainly, cheerful. You're very kind and you love to serve. So, my words, I think that's a really nice way to ask people to introduce themselves. Tell us 3 words or 5 words that describe you and why. So, that was
It
great.
also,
Thanks.
yeah, it also helps you. Sorry, it also helps you know people better as
hmm
well.
hmm I agree. All right. What three? Oh, let's start over here. What about your educational background? So I want you to go back and tell me what colleges did you go to? What degrees did you earn? I know it started in Pennsylvania. And then
Yes.
how did you get to where you are now?
Okay. So first, I started in Pennsylvania, especially in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm a Steelers fan as well. Go Steelers! So I first started out at BC3 Butler Community College, and I graduated in 2 years with an AA in theater. So then I went to Slippery Rock University in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, and I was gonna get a BA in theater, and then there's an incident that happened where my mom was washing a table glass and her hand got cut. So the doctor said it would be better for her to go in a live in a warmer climate. So we moved to Florida, specifically in Tampa, where I got a BA with a major in communication and minor in theater. And then this upcoming summer, I graduated Valencia College with a technical certificate in digital broadcast production.
What does that mean? Explain to our listeners what digital broadcast production means.
So, digital broadcast production is pretty much I can help with productions like podcasts and so I've taken a lot of classes that I had to do voiceovers and like that are in front of the camera, a little bit behind the camera as well. So I know how to do Pacific's voices for different roles if I'm going to do some acting, and also and script analysis and it more going along with like my theater background, and also if I wanted to do a little bit of like editing in Adobe Premiere and stuff like that, and in Photoshop. But it
Very
mostly so it mostly focuses on like helping a production and like being in front of a production as well. So behind the scenes and in front.
Yeah, that is really good. I see that there's a parallel path to the fact that you like being in theater and the side of
Yes,
acting, broadcast, podcasting. They're all very much parallel, like railroad tracks to each other.
basically.
Yeah, so that is interesting. That I don't know if you realize that or not, but it is
Oh, I
interesting.
yeah, I have, and since I was little, I've always wanted to be in the entertainment industry in some shape or form. Everybody that is around me and knows me since I was very young, known I wanted to be in the entertainment, whether it's singing, acting, dancing, some kind of performing. They knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I had that excitement and wanting to do this since forever, pretty much.
Interesting. All right. Most influential person in your life and why?
I have three. So my first one is my mom.
Hmm.
I feel like she is very inspiring to my sister and I. She's an independent woman that who is caring and giving and wants to help others, and I believe that she has taught both my sister and I how to do that successfully and how to be a caring, compassionate individual that wants to be there for people.
Yeah, your mom is awesome.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
My second person I would say is Walt Disney. He's very creative and he made Disney. And I love a quote that he said, which was, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And I think that that's a very powerful quote because everybody has a dream and you shouldn't be afraid to pursue that dream because we only have one life to live and it'd be terrible to do something that you're not passionate about. And my last person is Demi Lovato. I think she's also inspiring. She's been through hardships and she's real, and I believe people like that been through things. Like we all been through things up and down. Those are very inspiring people as well.
Yeah, those are, she definitely is. She has, battled with depression, with some mental issues, fame, and not being able to have privacy. My
Yes, exactly.
goodness, yeah, yeah, so much. So
Yeah,
you, I would definitely support that one. Also, Walt Disney is amazing. He is somebody that is iconic in the world when
exactly.
people think about creativity and just the power of imagination and curiosity. What a great man. Okay.
Exactly.
What three skills did you find that were the most important during your internship? And let's talk about these six first, because I know you may have some other ones. Your research, your time management, your creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, or communication.
For me, I would pick problem solving, time management, and creativity.
Okay, so why would those be the most important that you feel that you got a lot out of it?
So first, I'm gonna start with creativity. I learned how to use Canva, which it was a website I'd never used before. I learned less is more, contrast. I learned about your style of editing and your style of how you want your company to look and appreciate it to 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 look for to others. So I've learned that as well. And I've also learned what colors look best on individuals, especially like people with lighter skin and people with darker skin. So I would say I learned more about creativity. That would be my number one.
Mm. Yep, that is definitely super, super important. Then you also pick time management.
Yes. I feel like, especially in the industry that we're in, time is money, and there's no time to like mess around and anything. So I make sure to, when any task that I have to do, that I get it done before or on time as much as possible. I feel like I'm very good at dealing with my time and when I have to do things as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I would say time management.
Yeah, you're always ahead of schedule, which is rare for most people. All right, your last one. I think you said
Problem
problem
solving. Oh,
solving.
so sorry. I would say problem solving. An example for that is I saw on Asana, which is the platform we use to communicate and submit things. There was, for our show with Kent and Randy, there wasn't a task created for them. So I copied the create a task and I made one for Kent and Randy. Left the task that said create the template. It's still there, and I made sure that Kent and Randy had a task, so everybody that works with us could see where to put their things as well.
Yep, that is a really good example. How about what are you most proud of? Now, that could be over not during your internship. It could be anything that you really are very, very proud of. That it could be something that you've accomplished in your life. It could be, the people that are in your life. It can be anything. What are you most proud of?
Okay, I have a couple. One is that I'm so happy that I was able to adopt Pat from the shelter. There's too many dogs in the shelter, and being able to give Pat a loving home, or any animal a loving home, is very amazing and important. The second one would be when I was going into my senior year of high school. I tried out for a talent competition. I got up to like close to meeting the Pacific judges, because in talent competitions there's three different rounds until you get to on TV. So I was very close to meeting the judges, and I felt that that was very exciting. and it showed that like I do have the talent. I can pursue this because I got that far as well.
Mhm.
And then my last one is like I'm also in a talent agency and how I was able to do the roles that I have been able to do. For example, the little play that I was in as well.
Yeah. Yep. Those are really good. Those are really good things. I think that many times people don't really remember all of the cool things that they've done in their life and how that really does speak to they stretched their wings, so to speak. They also
Right.
went out there and they jumped off of the cliff, even if they were afraid, not literally, but
Right.
figuratively. I think that's significant. All right, you know, my favorite question is coming up.
Yes, I know your favorite questions. Do aliens exist? Yes, of course they do.
Does life exist
Oh,
on other
sorry.
planets? Yeah, so there's a little bit different, because I always go off onto the side of aliens. So you were jumping to the right conclusion as to where I go. But does life, because it may not necessarily be aliens, does life exist on other planets?
So my answer is yes, it does, because we're right now we're in the Milky Way. There's other galaxies in the world, in the sorry, in the universe. So how can we humans be the only thing here? It doesn't make any sense. So yes, there's other creatures. I don't know what they are. They probably are aliens, different form of aliens. Maybe it's like a different galaxy of us that are doing different things. Maybe it's Isabella doing a different thing than Isabella's doing now, or me doing something different. Who knows? But yes, definitely. I
Hmm.
believe that there's other life in other planets.
Next week, The Matrix returns. I think that's the name of the movie. It doesn't matter. It's The Matrix 4. It's launching next week, or it airs next week. And I'm really excited. This whole week, I sat there. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching The Matrix, the first one, the second one, the third one. And I was amazed that in 1999 is when The Matrix came out, the first one.
Okay.
And I was actually noticing how much has already changed, and what they were predicting in that movie, a lot of it has already come to pass. Now we don't have all of these robots out there that are replicating themselves, not yet, but it
Right.
can happen. I think that that is something that, while it's not necessarily aliens that we might think of, the machines themselves can become that type of same creature. Does life exist on other planets? Life may not be, as you know, some of the guests have talked about. It could be moss. It could be some type of an amoeba that's in some frozen water. It could be
Right.
actually be other, beings that don't look like humans. What we didn't think about was also how machines themselves, they can also be life that's existing on other planets. They don't need air, they don't necessarily need food or water. The things that they would need might not be, available, but yet they could probably still continue existing. If
Exactly.
they didn't have electricity, that might be the problem for them, but how they generate electricity can also be very creative. Anyway, I like your thoughts.
Yes,
Oh,
and also like backing uh to counter that, I would say like the movie industry does a really good job at like predicting what can happen, and a lot of the things that they've done in especially like science fiction films is like, oh yeah, I can see that happening, or in future years we see it happen. So they're really good at like creating creating things that are going to happen in their films that end up happening in the future as well.
all right. Well, now we're going to go and talk about your pick of the four guests that you would like to spotlight, because the purpose of this show is to be able to look back and see which of the four out of all of the shows we've had that you liked. And you picked two from season 2. So
Yes.
let's look at that first one, Landon Connor, season 2, episode 96.
Yes.
Why did you choose this one? And then we're going to go listen to the clip so that we can discuss that.
So I picked this episode about Landon because I feel like he was very informative to our audience about photo and video, especially talking about how it's easier for someone to go into photograph the photograph
Photography.
industry, yeah, photography into videography. And I also loved how he said you don't have to use very expensive equipment to start photograph photo to get into the business. You can just use your phone. If you have a iPhone 7 and up, it's perfect to use to take photographs or videos.
All
So I
right.
think that was very important.
All right. So let's listen in to Landon talking with us in the studio.
Do a quick explanation for everyone. Shooting up upon a person is lowering your camera angle and it makes the person look more powerful. Sometimes you have to shoot down on a large crowd because it's so many, but you still see it's a lot and it's large. But you shoot down on one person, you make whatever's closer to the camera, say their head is going to be closer. That's going to become really large and their body's going to be really small. So you're diminishing a person. What if that person is small? I don't want to look smaller, so I shoot them up to look more powerful in what they're doing.
Right. So I know that you just covered that in what you were sharing at the beginning as to why you chose this one. But I always love hearing the guest explain something as to why his examples were really good. I am 5'2", so I am short, and I
Right.
had not even realized how that was possible. And once he explained that, I started thinking back to other pictures that I've seen where the subject, the model, whomever, was being photographed from down below. And I went, you know what? He is exactly right. So that was pretty cool. I appreciated him doing that. All right, next guest is Anna Eskamani, and that was season 2, episode 112. And we were
Yes.
actually in that one focusing on Women's History Month.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, so why was that memorable? But don't give it away totally. So you want to make our listeners kind of get a little bit of a tease here.
Okay. So she's the first Iranian American to be elected in Florida. And I believe in her episode, she was very inspiring to both you and to every woman out there, showing that you can do anything as well. So our viewers should watch this episode to get uplifted, more to have more encouragement if they're struggling with something. So it's a very good episode to listen to overall.
All right, so let's go listen to Anna talk with us.
I'm a young woman of color growing up here in Florida, and so I've always faced the gender bias barriers around my identities, and I think it also depends on what's happening in the world around you. So, for example, my family is Iranian American, and so when 9/11 happened is when I really started to experience racial bias and racial tensions, and having to also navigate that just as a child was very challenging, because folks would automatically associate you with a group of people and put labels on you. And then as someone who made the decision to get involved in civics and to get involved in politics, you learn very quickly that it's a male-dominated field, and that there really is this larger boys' club dynamic that you have to crack into.
Right. I really liked her so very, very much. I feel like she was talking specifically to just about everybody in there as a
Exactly.
reminder to think about, what is the value that you bring in? And everybody has value, no matter who they are.
Exactly. That's why I thought that her episode was very important, and I believe it was the best because I like her too. I was like listening to the episode and I was like, oh, thank you. I feel more more appreciated, and it gave me a confidence boost as well. So
Mm. Yeah, she is definitely inspiring. And our listeners may not know, but she is also a representative here in the state of Florida. She does represent her district in Orlando, and being the first woman of color in the Iranian sector demographic is significant. She's made a really big difference, and especially when it was with COVID going on, my goodness, she worked tirelessly being able to make a difference and help people be able to get rent assistance or be able to figure out how they were going to be able to have money coming into their homes. She made a huge difference. Not many people that were in that position could actually move mountains, but I saw her doing that. So I appreciate her. All right, well, we're going to take a little break and listen to our little ad about Cat 5 Studios. So we want to thank Cat 5 Studios for producing our show.
The Intern Whisperer is brought to you by Cat 5 Studios, who help you create games and videos for your training and marketing needs that are out of this world. Visit Cat 5 Studios for more information to learn how Cat 5 Studios can help your business. Thank you, Cat 5 Studios.
All right, we are back to our show, and we're going to be looking at two other people that Becca has selected to spotlight for our listeners. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about the future of work. We're really closing in on the tail end of the show, so I'm not sure how far we're going to get with the future, but nonetheless, we're going to do our best here. You picked season 4, episode 163, Jim Faraday. Yes. Why did you choose Jim?
So going back to my creative background, especially in the entertainment industry, Jim is in the music industry. He is called the Show King, and I thought it was very interesting to hear him discuss how music was back in the day, how people got their music, how people went to events that were about music and everything like that. So I think that would be very educational, especially to our younger viewers, that right now it's more easy to get music, download music, buy music. It wasn't like that back in the day.
Okay. Well, we're going to go and listen in and see what he has to say, and we'll hit play here. Where did you go to school? Whether high school, college, whatever?
I went to college, Mercyhurst up in Erie, Pennsylvania, which was a very predominant. It's the size of Rollins College.
Yeah.
And
is it private?
It's a private Catholic school, very, a lot of nuns. Mm-hmm. And but it was very cool because I was not a very good student. So having a small school with small classrooms, I persevered my 4 years and graduated with business management and hotel restaurant management.
Oh, that's interesting. So Barry University is also a Catholic school. They had nuns that run that one still, I think, somewhat. So maybe they're the same size. No, I think Barry's pretty big.
Yeah, Barry's way bigger.
Yeah, way bigger. Okay, so you went to school, you got management, hospitality. That's super good. What other background and industry? So you started at 16, and so you put the pieces together?
It's just, I was just, being around my father was very entrepreneurial. I was just very entrepreneurial, and my father's friend opened a club in Orlando, Florida. So I was the only one out of my class that graduated that didn't go to like Hyatt or Hilton or Holiday Inn. I went to an independent nightclub that was the biggest on the East Coast, down in Orlando, Florida. And that's how I got to Orlando. And then when I got here, I realized that no one was promoting any live concerts. And so I started digging in, and started doing live concerts the minute I hit the ground here in 1983.
All right. That was interesting because we also backed it up just a little bit so we could discuss and hear more about how he got started. I remember when I was interviewing him for that show, he had mentioned that, he really was not a good student in school when he was in middle and high school. And he did end up going to college. However, it was one of those things that it didn't necessarily what he was studying in college didn't actually necessarily relate to the path he chose. I think that was something that I think a lot of our listeners can draw from because
exactly.
My goodness, I've seen a lot of students graduate with a degree, and then they ended up not doing what they went to school for because they decided, oh, I really didn't want to do this. One of them was a graphic designer from Valencia. She decided she really loved doing makeup. She ended up being a consultant with Mary Kay, and she loves what she does. And she probably makes more money than she would have as a graphic designer, to be honest. And she gets to do tutorials. She loves teaching people how to wear makeup and what the power of makeup can do for a woman or anybody in the theater that wants to play with it.
Right.
I think that's significant. And Jim was able to really hone in on the fact that he did do it. He did graduate from college, but where he saw the opportunity was taking what he learned in business. He was also with his own family. His parents had a family business, and he was working in that. And I think he picked up a lot about business from that side of what life can bring you. And he was able to make a whole career out of what he wanted to do. And you were right, because you were asking the question about him being, he said that there wasn't a lot of live performances. And I was going, I'm pretty sure there were. I don't think it's of the caliber that he was helping to pull into Orlando, like where they were filling concerts. They were having concerts in arenas. They probably
Exactly.
had them in little bars, but not to the same extent.
Yeah, I think like for me, he really helped build Orlando how it is now. So I thought it was very important for our viewers to know that as well. So
He has this whole collection of posters. They're over in one of the offices I work from, the construction office for Orlando World Live. And he has posters, as I mentioned before, of every concert that's been put on here. They're actually going to be put together as a collection and displayed at the Orlando History Museum, which I think is fascinating because there's this rich part of life that was happening, the history of bringing live entertainment on a bigger scale to Orlando. And he saved all of those posters, and they're in really pristine condition. They should be a really good exhibit, and I would encourage people to go. I think it's going to be in 2022. I'm not sure what month, but they are being gathered up to be displayed, and people can go and learn more about how Orlando was really being very innovative at the time and bringing big talent to this area. All right, our next one is Dana Marie Roquemore, season 4, episode 172. Why'd you pick this one?
so she is the creator of the Dinner Party Project, or a shorter version would be DPP. And I thought she was very inspiring to our viewers, especially the ones that don't really know what they want to do, want to go to college, but they don't know what path they want to go on. So she went to college, she didn't know what she wanted to do. Then she graduated, and then she did some traveling a bit, went abroad, came back, and discovered she really had a passion in making dinner parties. So that's why she made the Dinner Party Project.
Mm, very good. All right, so let's listen in on this little clip with Dana Marie Roquemore.
Being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. Yeah, it's hard. Especially if I am the creative and the ideas person, but my passion is not for business. Mm-hmm. Right? I didn't have a business model. I started it with a friend, and we were just
I think that's how most people do it. They have no concept as to what it takes to start a business. Oh, I'll start one, mm-hmm. And then they'll quit after a while. But it's a big learning curve.
Yes,
a lot. Even if you took business classes, it is still a big learning curve.
Yeah, because you have to wear a lot of different hats. You have to really know, I mean, between finance and
Every
marketing and being social with, if you're selling things, you have to be, someone that can interact well with people. And there's just, so many different levels. So a friend of mine around that time had asked, kind of like, what brings you joy and what brings you life? And what are you not doing that you should be doing? And so I thought on that, and I thought, well, I guess if I could just do like anything that I wanted to do, I would throw dinner parties. I love gathering people around my dinner table. I do that intrinsically, and I just love the kind of the magic that happens around a dinner table, which is just gathering with food and drink and questions. And so I was like, I have this idea. I'll throw everyone's name into a pot that wants to participate and grab 7 names out of a hat. And then I'll invite them. My dinner table seats 8 people. I'll be the host. I will do drinks, and we'll do 4 courses. I love eating a lot. I love drinking. So I just wanted to be able to like have this kind of like set time that people could come and meet new people. And I was trying to do my own business, and then I was doing Credo, and I just was like kind of burned out. And I was also taking like freelance jobs and stuff like that. So I just kind of got to the end of the year, and I was like, I am so tired. And, sometimes we get to spaces where we were working so hard that we're not really enjoying life. Mm-hmm. We're not enjoying the process and in the journey along the way. And so I had worked a lot, and I did, again, kind of like had saved up some money. So I did what any normal, responsible adult would do, and I went on a sabbatical, and I kind of like paused my business, and then Credo stuff kind of came to a close. And I just was like, I just need a break. I just need to get out of Orlando. I love to travel, and so that gives me so much life and joy. And
okay, so we covered a couple of extra clips in there. I thought it was very, very engaging. One of the things that I noticed that Dana, her skill set was really broad. She learned a lot about business through trial and error. And I think that most people have to be okay with the fact that they're going to fail, or they're going to, they're going to get whatever. You might get in trouble for something, or, you make mistakes. That's the really big learning curve. The goal is not to make the same mistakes again, because, I was one of those people when I was going to school full time and working full time. I didn't always have all of my attention where it should have been, and I would rush through things. And I was often told, stop rushing, stop rushing, slow down and pay attention to the details. At one point in time, I got in serious trouble because I did not pay attention to the details. And that's really where I began to slow down and focus on quality first. That's what I tell everybody now that works with me, because I go, listen, and I didn't ever tell the story, but I learned the hard way, and it's very, very valuable to slow down, go back, look at it, double check it, sometimes triple check it, and then make sure that whatever it is that's being delivered, because I did not ever want to have a client or a customer come back and say, what did you do here? This is like, and get fired by my client. But yeah, that can happen too. Anyway, anything else that you want to bring up on this show? Because I included a little bit more about Dana's show.
Well, all I, all, all I have to say is look at her website. It's www.thedinnerpartyproject.co. It looks amazing. I signed up for myself to get her newsletters and everything, to be able to sign up and go to one of her events. I would definitely look at her website. It looks incredible. If you can, go sign up for her newsletter, and for you to potentially be part of her wonderful parties as well.
Yeah, well, that's only applicable for the people in Orlando. She was looking at expanding that at one point in time, and she did have somebody in New York. This was years ago, okay, where she wanted them to follow the model, the business model, and be able to have the dinner party project in, every city and state throughout the United States. I could see it being very popular. I've gone to it, and I can absolutely tell our listeners, listen, she throws a really good party. She brings together 8 people, 8 strangers. We know nothing about each other. And it's through a very well designed dinner that focuses on cocktails at the beginning. There's appetizers, there's the soup and salad, then there's the main encore, the main entree, I'm sorry. Then there is the dessert, and there's wine throughout the whole dinner. There's very carefully crafted questions that are engaging and allow people to share their thoughts, their opinions. Not everything has to be controversial, but there was really thought-provoking questions in there, like, are aliens real in this case? But
Right.
not really. Anyway, I like Dana quite a bit. She was a great guest, and I appreciate the fact that you shared her website. It is for people in Orlando. If you're coming to Orlando, you can still visit the website and be able to sign up and participate in one of the dinner party projects. Okay. Well, I think that those were great guests. I'm really glad that you were able to share all of those people with our listening audience. How about you? What is the best mentoring advice that you want to share with our listeners?
I would say follow your dreams. If you have a passion for something, pursue it. Even though you won't have people to back you up or someone to help you get there, pursue your dreams. Life is too short. We only get one life. It's not worth being miserable in a job that you hate and you're only there because people want you to be there. So I would say follow your dreams. Do get in a career that you want to be in, because I've had friends and family members being like, went to college for this degree. They didn't want to be in this degree, but because of family and they don't want to upset people, they did this career and went to this college because of their family. You only have one life. Do the career, the job, the college, the major that you want to do, so you're successful and you'll be happy in the job that you're in. Because we see too many people in careers that are miserable and don't give great hospitality to others and are treating people like terribly. So do do something that you want to do in life.
I think that's good advice that you're passing on. I appreciate you doing that. I think that the other thing I'm going to build on top of that is that it's okay for people to realize that they may have spent 5, 7 years in a particular role in a company. If they decide that they want to go up within the company, they should pursue that, because you don't have to be locked into just one role. People also find a lot of, I know that there's a bigger movement now since more people are working remote and having flexibility with their jobs so that they can have a more work-life balance where they don't feel like they're rushing. However, I would say that they need to be really thinking about, you get really great benefits with many companies. As our world is turning into more of a gig economy, and if you end up being a contractor, then you're going to be responsible for getting, your own insurance and some of the benefits. You might consider staying with an employer where you can make a difference and be able to have a lot of that passion that you want. If you've got work-life balance, if you have flexible schedules, if you can work remotely, those are great. If they give you health insurance and any type of personal time off where it's paid, those are great. So stay there. They also end up educating you, and you can either go up, you can go laterally across the company. There's a lot of options, and that's what I would say that most people aren't thinking about. They may hop from job to job, but I was talking with somebody else that I was mentoring, coaching yesterday, and we discussed the fact that not everybody is motivated by money. They may not
Exactly.
want that. So what she wanted, this woman wanted, was the flexibility in her life to be able to do things. Her boss, she thinks, is great. He was very empowering. She was able to make decisions for him and for the company where that was significant. She is a very hard worker, and I'm very, very happy to know her. Um, the other thing that I was working with several of my mentees over the weekend. Another woman, she is putting in 80 hours a week, and she was telling me, well, I don't really find the job as rewarding as it was. There's people that are leaving the company, and she found that very frustrating. She's thinking about going someplace else. So you have to sit here and weigh other factors. She's going to be getting married, and when she does that, what's going to happen, because she was going to take a month off. How would that work? All of these different variables. Her husband started his own business. Sometimes you can't both leave a company because it takes time to build up a business
Right.
and be able to get the income that you're looking for. So those are some other variables that I don't think that many people will consider when they're thinking about a job, a career. Yeah, you may not be happy here, but is there another position within the company that you can go to? Is it because you're bored with it? Is it because maybe the tasks are different and you want to have new challenges? Well, then see if there is something else that you can do within that company to retain that longevity that you have. So I agree with you, Becca, totally, that life is too short. As a matter of fact, one of the people that I was mentoring over the weekend, and I usually do this like I don't know, I think it's like every 3 weeks, once a month, honestly, where we have these conversations. And I meet with them 3 times. That's it. And then I, move on, unless they want to hire me to be that life coach for them.
Right.
It's really important. They asked me, well, what about you? Do you like what you do? And I said, yeah, I love what I do. I know that I put in more hours than I ever imagined I would anyplace else, but I also believe that this is fulfilling a calling, a purpose for myself, and it's not just about me. It's about, other people.
I know, and that's a good thing, because that you're doing something that you're passionate about, Isabella. Because when you're in a career where you're having fun and you love what you do, it doesn't seem like work.
Exactly. Exactly. That is very true. All right. How can people reach you? Be careful not to give out your email address, but what social channels? And I know you spell your name differently. It's Coffy is the correct spelling, because I was mortified that maybe I was spelling it wrong. But you also
No,
have another on other social channels. You spell it Coffey. So where
exactly.
can people reach you?
Okay. So my LinkedIn is Rebecca Sarah Coffey. I'll spell that Rebecca, Sarah Sara, Coffey Coffy. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca Sarah Coffey. I'll spell that as well. And that's BECCA And if you want me to be in a future project of yours, I'm also on the casting networks .com website, and my name on there is Rebecca Sarah Coffey, and that's REBECCASARACOFFEY. So
All
if
right. Go ahead.
yeah, so if you wanna contact me at all on any of these channels, you can.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We are at the end of our show, and I want to thank our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios. Thank you to our production team, Becca Coffy, associate producer intern. She officially is finished with her internship. Video and audio editing, Steve Neese and Ayana Sanders. Our video interns, Nick Morales and Alex Teal. Music by Dave Francis, Sophie Lloyd, Charles Fleming, and Elijah Sutton. And sound effects by Matt Miller, Miguel Sintra, and Dave Francis. So you can also go and visit us at Employers for Change, where, just a minute, turn that down just a little bit. Visit us at Employers for Change at www.e4c.tech, and you can learn how you can also bring real diversity and inclusion within your company and while you're skilling your people for the future of work. So thank you very much. All right, Becca, I will catch up with you in a little bit.
Thank you for having me, Isabella. It was a pleasure.